Cheers! Hello, Sophie here, yet again. This is part 2 of a 4-part series all about making an animated 3D horse skeleton in grease pencil. So if you haven't seen part 1, I urge you to go check that out. And if you are coming here from part 1, then you know the drill, and let's just dive in. So I named part 2 That Darn Ribcage. And that darn ribcage indeed. While I was making skeletons, I quickly learned that one of the best things you can do for your skeleton is to see the holes in between the ribs and to see the ribs on the other side through the holes. Otherwise, it shatters the illusion in a big way. But how can you achieve this without sculpting each rib individually? Because I don't want to do that. I have discovered the knife project tool. And since discovering it, I use it in all of my projects. Like, whenever I want to cut holes into a mesh, that's what I use. So let's start by actually drawing the ribs. So like we did last time, we'll select one of our grease pencil objects, hit Shift D to duplicate it, right click to get it back to its original position, go into edit mode, hit A to select everything, and then delete the strokes. I'll also go back into object mode. I can hit F2 to rename it to ribcage. And then I'll go back into solid view. And then let me just check that the solidify modifier is visible currently, and it is. And I think it'll make it easier actually if we select our ribcage, select in the scene collection, by holding Control, select our ribcage grease pencil object. So have those two selected. And then we'll hit Control I to select everything else. And then H to hide it. So now we can select once again our grease pencil ribcage. And then Tab to go into draw mode. So we're going to pretend the ribcage is just a series of rings. I typically draw the ribs in 2 strokes. And we can pretty much just follow the shape of the mesh. So now that we have our grease pencil strokes down, we can go back into object mode, select our ribcage, and hide the solidify modifier. So now to knife project. So we're going to do this by creating a new grease pencil stroke object, and then we'll hit G-X to move it to the side. And so all we want is for the origin, the yellow dot here, to be beyond the mesh. So we'll select our new grease pencil object, go into edit mode, select and delete the stroke, and then go into draw mode. So for this, we're actually going to set the stroke placement to origin. So the origin of our grease pencil object, once again, the yellow dot that we moved earlier. And we're going to set the drawing plane from view to side. And then we'll hit numpad 3 to look at our rib cage from the side. So now we're just going to draw on this 2D plane in midair as if we're cutting out what we want the opening of the rib cage to be. So brush doesn't matter, but to keep it simple, I usually go with the pen brush for this, just because pen pressure doesn't affect it at all. And then I'll also hit F to lower the radius, which again doesn't matter. It's just going to make it easier for me to visualize what I'm doing. So then how I want you to think, so this first section between these 2 lines, that's the first rib, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ribs, and these are their outlines. And so what we want to do is to draw the cut lines just to the inside of the rib outline, so that it's within the outline of the rib. So then what we want to do is go into object mode, hit F3, search convert. I always do that. Convert. And we're going to hit convert to path. And then we can hide our new stroke object and select this thin line that we just created. And so in the scene collection, we'll select our new path. And then we want to, in the 3D viewport, shift select our rib cage. And then we'll tab to go into edit mode. Just click anywhere to deselect it. And then you want to select mesh and knife project. And then in this little box, we want to select the option that says cut through. So now we can see what we have. It's looking good. So once again, this mesh is not perfectly mirrored, as you can see. I'll fix that up for the final version that you're gonna get. So then we want to make sure that up here we're in face select mode, And then normally it does a pretty good job of selecting all the faces, but in this case, in order to get the ones that it missed, we'll just shift and lasso select around them. And then we can hit delete and select faces. It's very important that you select to delete the faces. So earlier when I described drawing the cut line on the inside of the rib outline, that's so that we can make sure to see the rib cage line on the other side. So now we can do this for the rest of the ribs. So let's go back into object mode, select the path, and then we can just delete it. Then we'll hit numpad 3 to return to side view. And then we can select our stroke grease pencil object, the one we created specifically to draw these cut lines. Go into edit mode, hit A to select everything, and delete. And now we can draw the cut line between our two first ribs. Go back into object mode, search path, it's already there. Convert it, hide that object, select the path, shift select the mesh, go into edit mode, hit mesh, knife project, cut through is already selected. And now you can see the beautiful ring that it creates. We are in face selection mode, and so we can just delete the faces. I specified delete faces just because if you delete vertices, well, that. And then we go back into object mode, delete the path that we created, go back into our stroke, go into edit mode, and delete that. So if ever you don't manage to draw the cut line in a single stroke, what I recommend you do before converting into a path, go into edit mode, hit A to select all, and then hit Control J to join the strokes. So this should work well with the ribcage mesh that I've provided. But if ever you try this in a future project and it doesn't seem to cut exactly along the lines of the path, it's most likely just because you need to add some more geometry to your mesh. And so you can do this by just giving it a subdivision surface modifier and then just setting the levels to 1 and hit apply before you do this. And that's pretty much solved any issues that I've had with using the knife project for this method. So now that all the holes have been cut out, I can delete this path object, and I can also delete the stroke object that was just to draw the cut lines. So now I'll hit Alt H to make everything visible. Go away, rig. Go into render view. And so now you can see it really looks like a 3D rib cage, which is so cool. So you'll be able to see the rib cage mesh. It's not the prettiest thing in the world. There are some areas where there are little triangles that have been like nicked out here and there, but it's fine. It's good enough. It serves its purpose. So final thing, if we open up this box that says overlays and we click this box that says face orientation, we see a scary looking red inside the rib cage. There are some issues going on with the pelvis. I will fix that for the final version that you are going to get. But yes, this red on the inside of the rib cage, that's because what we're seeing is the inside of the sphere that I sculpted into the ribcage shape. So this isn't ideal. When we're working with meshes, we really want to always be working with the outside of the meshes. So we want the face orientation to always be blue. So the easiest way to fix this is to select our ribcage and to add a solidify modifier. So rather than use the same one as we used to draw our grease pencil strokes, I'm instead going to duplicate it, and what I'll do is I'll set the offset to 0 because we really don't want it to be any thicker, because the purpose of this is really just to make so that the ribcage mesh has outside meshes on both sides, both the outside and the inside. And as you can see, got rid of that scary red, and now there's just the happy blue of a happy horse skeleton. So now we can go back into overlays and uncheck the face orientation box. And so as you can see, we have our final horse skeleton grease pencil drawing. I'm so excited seeing this. I love it. I think it's looking great. But that is going to be it for me for today. So next part will be animating these grease pencil strokes. If you'd like me to see what you've made, please share it with me. I would love to see it. You can tag me on Instagram or Twitter. I'm at Sophie Jantak everywhere. So I will see you very, 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 very soon, like tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.